Become a sponsor for the Lost Art Project Veterans Voices. Looking for veteran-owned businesses to sponsor the podcast for 1 week? Each episode, social media video will be sponsored by your business only. What do you get? 5 sponsored episodes with your logo featured, 5 social media videos with your logo featured, and 1 daily post advertising your business on all social media platforms. Support a veteran podcast and advertise your veteran-owned business. Email AJ for details. Lost Art Project Veterans Voices at gmail.com. The Lost Art Project Veteran Voices with Andrew Cox. Preserving history, one veteran story at a time. Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassadors. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art Project, Veteran Voices with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Project, Veterans Voices. I'm your host, AJ Cox. My phone is going off. You can hear it. I'm going to turn it off real quick. Apologize. But I hope you're enjoying these podcasts, and if you are, make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check it out, see what we're all about. There is a couple ways you can help support us. Obviously, if you have a business and you want to partner with me, we can do that. Just shoot me an email, or you can go to the website and click on that merchandise tab. Go get you some cool merchandise, like a cool shirt, kind of like this, or a cool hat. This one says Bearded Veteran Brotherhood, but you can go in and get you some cool stuff that helps support us. A big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing amazing things. If you don't know anything about them, you need to go check them out. Even if you do, go back and check them out again. Always doing new stuff, always doing good. But you can find them at tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, here we are, man. I'm excited. I got Doc Coleman with us today, man. Doc, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine. How are you, AJ?
Oh, man, I can't be any better. I got you here. I got cats crawling all over me. I mean, it's a perfect day, you know?
I hear that.
Well, heck, Doc, let's start at the beginning. Let's start about where you grew up. Tell us what that was like, and then what drew you to military service.
Sure. One, I'm a native Georgian. I was born in Albany, Georgia. While my father was in service, he was Army. Sorry, that's as much as he could be. I miss my late father because, every year Army Navy game rolls down. That was a contentious time in our household, but it was all good. But yeah, he served 2 years overseas, came home 64. We moved to Atlanta. My mom had graduated college by that time, was teaching school. He finished his college degree at Georgia State. And from there, through his job, we moved all over the Southeast. So, I claim Albany, Georgia, my hometown, but I grew up my high school years in Alpharetta, Georgia. After graduating from high school, I attended North Georgia College, which is now North Georgia University, up in Dahlonega Senior Military School. My grades were not where my parents wanted to be, and they brought me home. And I ended up getting a job loading and unloading trucks at 6 a.m. at Richards, which I soon determined that was not going to be a career move. And, And I ended up joining the United States Navy and with a guarantee of being a hospital corpsman.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what was the draw to being a corpsman? Like, what was the big thing for you?
When I was in high school, my senior year, Alpharetta was very small at that time, and we had only partial full-time fire department. The rest were volunteers, and I worked as an EMT. and I really, really liked it. So going into service, that's what I wanted to do.
Very
I
nice.
went to core school, boot camp and core school in San Diego. Um,
Oh wow.
yeah,
Now,
graduation.
what year was it that you joined?
I joined September of '82
82.
and
Okay.
discharged in '88.
Okay, so in '82 they were still doing boot camp at right downtown San Diego, there next to the recruit depot or MCRD.
When you land and the planes turn around, you get an eyeful. Both the Navy and the Marines are out
That's right.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah, and I could see those, red shorts and yellow t-shirts doing PT, man.
I love it. I love it. Now, tell me a little bit about that. Like, you kind of understood the military, been around it, right? Your dad was in. So,
Yeah.
what was it like going to boot camp for you? I mean, were you a little nervous? Were you, what were you feeling?
Bored.
Bored. Okay.
Bored.
Okay.
Navy by far is not the most difficult boot camp in
Yeah,
existence. It's about one or two steps above the Air Force. Of course, in the Air Force, a bad day in the Air Force is the cappuccino machine's not working.
that's right.
But
Right.
um, I'm just kidding. Um, Having a father who had been in the military, going to North Georgia and attending their form of boot camp,
Mhm.
before the semester started, back then it was quarters, gave me some preparation for boot camp. So I had a good idea of what to expect. Um, you know, so it was not really that big. I really wanted to get out of there and start moving towards becoming a hospital corpsman. And
I
I
see. Yeah.
I graduated from boot camp, went across the city there in San Diego to Balboa
Okay.
Naval Hospital, and attended a hospital corps school, which is about a 16-week long school.
Wow.
Um,
Now
and
it's not still at Balboa. It's in Texas now, isn't
I
it?
think so, yes, that everything's moved to Laughlin Air Force Base or something
Mhm.
like that. But yeah, San Antonio, kind of disappointing, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean, San Diego's a nice area. It's a good area, I think, to be young and to enjoy the scenery and all the fun things that they have to offer there.
there's a reason why they have a high retiree population there. Let me tell you,
Yeah, it is nice. It's a nice area to be for sure.
absolutely. So I graduated from hospital corps school. There are 100 in my class. Graduation day, two events happened in addition to graduating. Um, 20 guys got a B school of their choice because of their high grades. And after graduation, went to the nearest phone booth, called my mother, who's now a retired school teacher, and called her to give her affirmation that education was important and that I had not studied enough, and that me and 79 other guys were getting sent to the Marines.
Oh wow,
That's a,
that's
that's a,
so
that's a true story.
79 out of the 100 were sent to be corpsman over there,
Oh
or
yeah, oh yeah.
fleet Marine corpsman for the Marine Corps. Wow.
It was all I could do to get on a plane, go back to Atlanta, and talk to my recruiter, and tell him you're a liar. It's not a volunteer thing anymore. But then again, the Navy, that stands for never again volunteer yourself.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
but that's what God had intended for me.
yeah. Uh-huh.
And to this day, I'm glad that's the way things worked out. I'm very proud to have that association with the Marine Corps, to have been part of them, and still am.
Yeah,
So
that's amazing. Now, the school itself, the corpsman school that you went to in San Diego at Balboa, uh, was that a difficult school for you? Was it fairly easy?
no, I wouldn't say it was easy. Looking back, hindsight, I should have studied harder than I did.
Yeah.
There were parts that were difficult, no doubt.
Hmm.
It wasn't a cakewalk, but I think that most people that drawn to military service are either overachievers, they're A-type personalities,
True.
they're probably athletes that are driven to win.
Hmm.
Something drives us towards that kind of environment.
Yeah.
So I think that when you're going through schools, um, that's just part that you want to do well.
Right.
and I did want to do well. And it really, I'm so glad I wasn't in the top 20. I have something that those guys will never have.
Yeah,
That's an EGA.
that's right.
Now it really, the learning thing and wanting to really achieve hit me probably when I went to field medical service school at Camp Lejeune. Because it took me about one day to realize I did not want to be that one guy that let the Marines down.
I love it. I
Do
love it.
not be that guy.
Yeah. Wow. Now, so you went, was all the FMF stuff at Lejeune area that
Yes.
time? It was.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I do Fleet Marine Force. Well, no, I think they had a school probably in 29 Palms,
Okay.
Pendleton,
Yeah.
somewhere up there. But I got sent to the one in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
Okay. All right. And now the Balboa then, was that all corpsmen went to there? Like, doesn't matter where you were in the country?
I'm not really sure. It's been like 200 years. I don't recall if they had corpsman school at Great Mistakes and Orlando, but that's where I went.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me about now. Okay, now you're going on to a Marine base. You're going down. Your first like glance at everything as you're coming in. You're seeing everything. What was going through your mind?
Oh well, I landed in Charleston. My flight landed in Charleston at nighttime. Back then, Charleston was a smaller airport, and I walked to the carousels to get my sea bag.
Mm-hmm.
And I look over, and there's this group of young guys. A couple of them got leather jackets. Someone had a big afro. There was some long hair. There were some kids that looked like they came off the farm, and they're all sitting at attention. And I looked over to the left, and I saw the buck sergeant, Marine Corps buck sergeant at the quarter deck, and I almost threw up because I knew what was in store for them. I had not gone through my Marine Corps training yet, but yeah. I had Marine friends from high school, and they'd already come home and talked about what they went through. And when I saw those guys, my heart broke up for them. I just thought, wow, yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So, Charleston was my first duty station. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was flying to Charleston. This is after field medical school. But my first day at field medical school, myself and another E2 were walking down the street with the chief petty officer, and this blue Camaro came by, and it stopped, hit the brakes, backed up, and the windows rolled down, and it was a Marine lieutenant. And he said, "Chief, you don't salute officers?" And the chief never stopped walking. This guy's still backing up. We're following the chief, taking it all in. And the chief said, "Yes, sir." He said, "But I'm in the Navy. We were taught to salute officers, not cars," and just kept on going. I was like, wow. And then down the street, there was a Marine walking out with no cover. And from every barracks, you could hear people yell out the window, "Cover that head, Marine, cover that head." So that gave me a little insight that very first day as to what was coming.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now tell me a little bit about the corpsman school itself, or the, what do you call it? FMF school? What
Fleet Marine Force School, Field Medical Service School is what it's actually called.
Okay, I got you.
Field Medical Service School. So you learn to take your newly developed skills just as a corpsman, and now apply them into combat scenario. That's the whole purpose, is to convert you from what you do in a hospital to this is what you'll be doing out on the battlefield. That's the whole premise of the school. And there's physical fitness, a lot of physical fitness involved, as well as classroom time. And then coolest thing while I was there was going to a firefight at night. That was way cool. Nice. That was way cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now, while you're there, the Marine Corps, we get indoctrinated in boot camp, right? We get the 3 months of telling you how great the Marine Corps is and getting you excited about it. I'm assuming that that schoolhouse is kind of the same for the corpsmen that go there.
Um, I don't think that we. Um, I would say that there's not a necessarily a big intensity
Uh-huh.
into Marine Corps culture or the esprit de corps that you
Okay.
guys get in boot camp. It was really mainly focused on doing your job if should you ever be in this environment, in combat.
Right.
That was their main focus.
Okay.
It wasn't so much about taking in again the culture, the ethos, and what have you. Is mostly preparing you what you're going to be doing when if you go into combat. Um, the Marine Corps instructors involved were were younger Marines, and when I say younger, they were at least E5 or E6,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
But they had corpsman instructors there as well, and these were E7s that had been in Vietnam as a
Oh,
corpsman.
wow. No kidding.
So your cadre from the school involved both Marine Corps DIs, if you will,
Yeah.
and Navy instructors as well, corpsman instructors.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Well,
and a lot of those guys would let you know this is how it was in Nam. Get rid of this,
yeah.
get rid of that. This is what you want to do. Never stand behind the radio man or the second lieutenant. Those kind of
Yeah.
things.
Wow. Yeah, that brings a complete new wealth of knowledge when you're talking about these guys came back from Vietnam and all the knowledge that they got while they were there. I mean, that's
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think about now just as you and I are talking, and I sometimes wonder. And my wife, who's got 3 degrees in mathematics, she tell you the law of large numbers applies. But I wonder now, for those instructors there at the school that had been through NOM, this was back in '83. I went through in '83. How many of that was therapeutic to them, and how much of it was kind of a little bit maybe of a struggle because it brings back thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, well, that's very true. It's a good point.
And I don't think we had an awareness. We didn't have awareness for PTSD back then that we do now.
Yeah. And it is different, I think, for people with PTSD to talk to somebody that's in the military and be able to share those stories versus talking to somebody else. And I don't know, at least for me, that's kind of how I see it. But, so maybe it was a little, I mean, still difficult, I'm assuming, but maybe a little easier because they were trying to, let you guys know that, hey, this is what you're going to see. So
I would like to think that probably somebody along the chain of command, when they were interviewing for these instructor positions, that's part of the interview process. Is this something that's going to cause you a problem? Can you deal with this? Because, when you're out in the field running scenarios, they're popping smoke. There's ammo rounds going off, the whole 9 yards. So, I would think that could possibly set flashbacks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Provoke them. Yeah.
Wow.
But it was all good. It was all good. It was great. It was quite an experience. It was quite an experience. I think they leave that all that eat up the esprit de corps and the ethos and all that to when you get to your unit.
Okay.
Because you will soon realize you do not want to be that guy. So you better get schooled quick.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. So at that point, then where would the Marine Corps decide they were going to send you? Well, I should say the Navy. Where did the Navy decide they were going to send you?
After a field medical service school, I went to my first duty station, Charleston, South Carolina, the Naval Hospital, Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
For a year, I worked in emergency medicine, and then from there, I joined 3rd Marine Division, 3rd FSG in Okinawa.
Very nice. So a year in the hospital, but doing emergency services.
Now in Charleston, yes, yes. Yeah. In fact, I wanted to get in the ER. Of course, everybody wanted to work in the ER. Right. All the adrenaline junkies wanted to work in the ER.
Right.
And it's very hard to get in. I started off actually in newborn nursery, labor and delivery, which wasn't a bad gig, but it's just and the hospital was starting a pilot program for EMS, emergency medical services. And someone came
Wow.
to me and said, if you want to get, to the emergency medical services, this is probably your best shot. So I
Yeah.
took a transfer to EMS, got sent down to Jacksonville, Florida to St. Augustine Technical Votech and got my EMT certification, came back
Wow.
and worked in a fledgling EMS program. It was a good time.
Wow, that is really cool though.
Yeah, right.
I mean, not all corpsmen can get that opportunity, you know?
No, and I think it was right time at right place.
Yeah. Wow, that's really cool.
Of course, the top 20 guys in my class were now in cardiology and neurology, and they were working 9 to 5 and going home every night. So
Right. Yeah.
sucks to be them. Sucks to be them.
That's right. That's right. Oh man, that's awesome. Well, now tell me about going to Okinawa, and what was that like? Checking into a Marine unit now.
Wow. Back then, the military had a contract with Flying Tigers, which is now UHL or whatever it is, the yellow DHL.
DHL, yeah.
Yeah, DHL. That came from Flying Tigers. They bought Flying Tigers, became a cargo company. But back then, the military had a contract with Flying Tigers. So you got on a 747, and it was filled with Navy personnel, Marine personnel, dependent wives and kids. And that was a schooling of itself. It's like an 18-hour flight over there. It's a long ride, and they only showed one movie, and I was like, that's insane. Who prepared for this trip? One movie? They didn't even play it twice. But a couple hours in, I looked at the guy next to me who was a Marine coming back to Okinawa from leave, and I said, wow. I said, Marine dependents are some of the best behaved children I've ever seen. And he said, you're not married, are you? And I said, no. And he said, you don't have any children, do you? I went, no. He said, dude, he goes, Benadryl. All these moms get on the plane, they give their kids Benadryl, knock their little asses out, So that's why it's so quiet. So even in the Corps, your children, your spouse will behave.
Yeah.
They will get with the program.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny.
Yeah. The next part was when we got there and landed, they opened up you had 500 people aboard. They opened up two doors, and I'm sitting somewhere near the back, and I was soaking wet by the time I got to the door because the humidity.
Right.
At 7 a.m. it's like 95% humidity, and when they shut that plane down, the AC goes away.
Right.
So I lost 20 pounds the first month I was there. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That heat and the humidity out there is no joke. It slapped you in the face as soon as you get there.
Woo. Yeah.
That's good stuff. And that when you came across in that flight, that was before you had even Walkmans and stuff, I'm assuming, yeah.
Oh yeah, there were. I don't think there were any Walkmans. I don't know if there were Walkmans back in the day. There certainly wasn't any cell phones.
No.
You were either making a long distance call from a phone, or you were going to the Mars station because they opened it up certain days of the week, and you could call home through the Mars station. I guess it's something like ham radio, or I don't know. It was something done with satellites or what have you. Okay. I did that once. The only thing is, every time you talk, you wait like one Mississippi, and all of a sudden you'd hear yourself talking again. It was almost like an echo. So that was different, but that's about as far as technology went back then.
Yeah,
computers still had green screens.
Right.
You were using floppy disk, and that was high tech.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that flight it's a long flight. 18 hours, only one movie. Twiddling your thumbs, reading a book, doing something of that. It's a long flight.
Yep. Or you're asking moms for some of that Benadryl.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, give you a couple of bucks for that bottle, ma'am. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So once you land and everything, talk to me about getting to the first your first unit, the check-in process there.
Yeah, I want to say that I want to say for some reason it was like 1 or 2 weeks before you ever got to your unit. You went through JRC,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where you're checking everywhere. You go to disbursement, drop off your pay record there. You go to a clinic, drop off, Well, I think actually you held on to your medical record because that was going to go to wherever you ended up. But you had to check in all these places. You went to briefings,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. You got the do's and the don'ts. These are the awful. Here's all the fun places in Okinawa. You cannot go to any of them. Um, if you go to a bathhouse, please remember you're in their country, not theirs. You got the do's and the don'ts kind of thing. You get a little indoctrination into Japanese law and what
Oh
can
yeah.
happen to you if you cross the line out in town, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. So again, just also want kind of like boot camp, I just kind of want to get through this, get to my unit, let's get going, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. So about 2 weeks or whatever before you got to your unit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Then the truck pulled up one day, the barracks, they're like, grab your sea bag, you on this truck, you on that truck, and away you went.
Okay. Wow. Now, going to the unit itself, what was talk me through getting there, and then kind of what life was like.
I worked with the Third Force Service Support Group, actually in medical logistics. So
Wow. Okay.
there is a very large warehouse, or at that time there was. Of course, there weren't high rises at that time. When I left in '85, they were talking about it, but
Right.
there's a very large warehouse. They had lots of large warehouses, go for blocks, and there was one in particular that was medical logistics, and you housed and maintained medical supplies. That time they had two ships, and I don't think they were the hospital ships per se. They had two ships that constantly were somewhere around the globe.
Mm-hmm.
And if war broke out, one of the ships or both of the ships would be instructed where to go, carrying the medical supplies that would be needed for combat, for like field hospitals, all that kind of thing.
Right.
And then, so, once a year, you're getting one of those ships come in, unloading everything, and you're reloading it. Maybe each ship
Oh
came in
wow.
once a year. I don't remember. Again, it was 200 years ago, but I just worked medical logistics. So that really didn't light my fire. So it's kind of like doing time. I did go when I got to Okinawa. I was going through JRC. I did sign Marine Corps regs. So all my Navy stuff went out the window. I was issued Marine Corps uniforms, everything but the dress blues. And you were told you could get them possibly posthumously. I told them no, that was okay. But I wore Marine Corps uniforms. My PT was Marine Corps. My evals were Marine Corps, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I wore almost a Marine Corps haircut. My hair was very short, wasn't quite a high and tight, but it was a Doc high and tight,
Yeah.
But yeah, and I kind of that I liked. I like that. A lot of the other guys in the unit that didn't go Marine Corps regs, they're like, why would you do that? And I'd go like, dude, man, you already had to wear somebody's uniform. Your hair's already messed up. So what the heck?
True. Yeah.
But again, when you go Marine Corps regs as a corpsman, you do not want to be that guy. And you learn, not one Irish pennant on your uniform, the whole block, how to block your hat, learn how to block your cover, not hat. God, I'm gonna have to throw a big bone out there. I said hat.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's all good. I really liked it.
And that was you had to iron your uniforms and stay flow and all that type of stuff to make sure that it was sharp and crisp.
Our Mama San did our fatigues.
Yeah, that's right, Mama San. Yeah,
everything else went to a dry cleaner.
Yeah.
I went wherever the Marines went.
Smart. Yeah. Now, do all FMF corpsmen wear the Marine uniforms, or is that a choice?
You know, back then, I imagine it was by choice, or I think it was by choice.
Okay.
I think it was really by choice, because everybody was wearing BDUs. We wore the
Right.
Woodlands. We wore the Woodlands back in the
Yeah.
80s.
And every branch
Um,
wore that back then.
yeah, since I came home in '88. What we had, like Desert Storm or Desert Shield shortly after that. And, and I think really, with Afghanistan and Iraq, that really kind of changed things, because now everybody's wearing BDUs. The Navy does it. They don't wear the dungarees anymore. They wear BDUs. Everybody does it. So I think the uniform thing has kind of changed. Um, but back then, yeah, someone told me about going Marine Corps Regs, and I was like, yeah, I'll sign up.
That's awesome.
I want the experience. I want to know what it's like to be you guys.
Yeah. And now, did you with the logistics and everything? How long did you end up doing that?
I was there for 18 months.
18 months. Okay.
Yeah.
So 18 months and then transferred?
Transferred from there to Marine Corps Logistics Base, Albany, Georgia.
Okay.
And I was now back on the blue side of the house, but back in emergency medicine.
Okay. Now, is that what you wanted to do? Go blue side, or?
No, it's just, that's just where I got. Well, we'll go back a little bit. In '84, my wife and I had a little girl. She passed away 3 hours after birth. We were in Okinawa.
Okay.
So the request to go home, I asked for a request to go home under humanitarian purposes.
Okay.
And I asked for the Marine Corps Logistics Base in Albany.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's how I ended up there.
Right.
My little girl's buried in Andersonville, which is a Georgia State cemetery, military cemeteries, where they had the POW camp during the Civil War. It's in Andersonville, Georgia, but it's a Georgia State Veterans Cemetery. So she is buried among the honored.
Right. Wow. So that was, you considered that home, which is why you went back there. Your family was there, and probably her family as well, I'm assuming.
No, she was from North Dakota, and we ended up about a year after back stateside. We got a divorce, so I apologize, Georgia. Please accept my apology. But no, she was from North Dakota, and I think she still lives down there.
Okay. Now, was she in the Navy as well, or?
She was a Navy corpsman as well.
Okay, makes sense. All right, and then talk to me your transition to Albany. And being there at the hospital. What was that like?
Well, we didn't have in Albany. It didn't have a hospital. There was actually two back in the day. There was Turner Airfield, and there was the Marine Corps Logistics Base. And during the Carter administration, they closed. I think they ended up closing the Air Force Base, Turner Airfield, either during the Carter administration or after the Carter administration, somewhere in that time frame. And they sold it to the city of Albany. However, the Navy wanted to hold on to the 74-bed hospital and the housing, dependent housing there.
Oh, okay.
And so they turned this small little hospital into basically a clinic for veterans and dependents. And then you had a clinic on base for active duty and reserve personnel. And I at one point, I started off on the 74-bed clinic side, and then end up going over to the Marine Corps base and worked there in emergency medicine.
Wow. Now, now, when I'm thinking emergency medicine, are we talking like your EMT type stuff, where you're
Yeah, yeah,
actually going
yeah.
out with the ambulance and those
Oh,
types of?
we had EMS services there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the clinic there actually, the clinic actually had a pharmacy. It had radiology.
Oh wow.
It had regular exam rooms. It had a small operating theater
Hmm.
in it. So you could typically, um, in some cases, we would bring if if we were called, if the ambulance was called out, we would bring them to the clinic, depending on what the threat level was or the
Right.
condition of the patient. In other cases, we would take them to Phoebe Putney Hospital in Atlanta. But if they need to be stabilized, they could be stabilized at the clinic and then transported to
Okay.
a hospital in
Now,
Albany.
how far is that from Albany to Atlanta?
Oh, um, probably 3 hour drive.
Oh wow. Holy cow.
But the hospital we would transfer them to is in Albany, not Atlanta.
Oh, okay,
Oh
okay.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
I thought you were saying it was in Atlanta that where you would transfer them. I was like, man,
Oh no, no,
that's a
no.
haul.
No, we transport them to Phoebe Putney Hospital in Albany.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah,
Man, that's cool. I had a question and it went in and went back out. I don't remember.
happens to me all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, talk to me a little bit about being an EMT there. What were some of the things that you I guess what was the average type of call that you got, and then what were the calls that you remember that were just kind of crazy out there?
You would get calls EMS wise. You would get calls for somebody falling out at PT, heat
Okay.
stroke, heat
Mhm.
exhaustion. I think mostly a lot of heat stroke. Sometimes injuries,
Mhm.
broken bone,
Right.
uh, torn ligament, whatever, sprain. Um, had had some calls to the medical logistics portion of the base because there's a lot of civil service workers on
Mhm.
base. So there were
Yeah.
times you get called out for a heart attack or some type of
Oh
cardiac
wow.
episode, or heat stroke,
Mhm.
and had several calls for women that were expecting,
Oh, okay.
and my husband may not be there. They called EMS, and you pick them up, and away we go and try to get them to uh, the hospital for delivery.
Oh man.
I
Wow.
had one that did not make it. We delivered her right there in the back of the ambulance.
No kidding.
Oh yeah,
Wow. Holy cow. I can't even imagine that. That's just crazy. Uh, now what is that like being in the ambulance, EMS and kind of what is that like? Because I
it's,
don't even know. I can't even imagine what it
it's an
is.
adrenaline jump. It's an adrenaline rush for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's uh, I think kind of like in some ways, I imagine it must be something like being in combat. It can be
Yeah.
very surreal what's going on, sometimes feeling like it's happening in slow motion. And
Hmm.
then when it's all over, after it's over, it kind of it hits you
Right.
what you've just gone through. And the adrenaline really hits you, hands
Hmm.
shake. Sometimes your hands are shaking.
Yeah.
It can be a wild ride, but while it's going on for me, it was usually not panic. It wasn't panic, and it very often it felt like it was almost slow motion, and then
Hmm.
it just really hit you once you were through the storm. That's when it kind of really hit you.
You kind of just fall back on the your training,
Sure.
and which I guess is why the military trains so hard, is so when you get in a stressful situation, you just fall back on what you know, and it just naturally comes.
I think there's muscle memory, and
Yeah.
I think memory.
Hmm.
From doing things, being trained so hard, and the Marines are no doubt the best at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And that training is one of the very reasons why they are the best at what they do. And I think that way, when the shit hits the fan, you're not sitting there going, should I do A or B? You know,
Right.
it just clicks.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, how long were you at Albany doing emergency services there?
Um, around 2 years. 2 years.
Okay. So, and then that brought you to about when time frame, year wise?
I got over in '85, and I went home in '87. I did 9 months of inactive reserves, which it doesn't piss me off now. But that day came where I got my discharge certificate in the mail, and there it said USN-R. And I was like, what the fork? R? What the hell? Had I known an R was going to show up on my discharge because of those 9 months of inactive reserves, I just sat back and wrote out the last 9 months. That used to really piss me off a long time ago. Now it doesn't really matter. But yeah. So I was there almost 2 years.
Okay. And then now, once you got out, what was the plan? Like, did you have a plan on the way out? What you were going to do, those types of things.
I came home and I went back to school for a while, and I think it was kind of the same with the first go around.
Yeah.
Kind of bored with it. I wanted to get out and be out in the real world. So I went into law enforcement and with the sheriff's office in the Atlanta metro area. Worked about a year and a half in uniform, and then was promoted to the rank of detective. And I kind of accredit being a corpsman, a Navy corpsman, with that. Some of the detectives told me once I got into CID that they had actually put in recommendations for my promotion, because as detectives, they would get my reports from the field as a uniform patrol officer,
right?
And that they were very detailed. And when you go through school as a hospital corpsman, documentation is a very big thing. Is very important. You're documenting everything about that about the patient,
right.
Whether it's subjective, objective, their prognosis, their diagnosis. So you have to be very detailed. In fact, the way I was taught was, you want to make your report so well written that if you drop dead today, somebody else could pick up that file and pick up right where you left off, because they understand what's going on. And I think that just carried with me into law enforcement, and I'm glad. Again, I guess that it was God's will. This is the path he was leading me on, and it was all good.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, your time, you said it was with the sheriff, correct? Sheriff's office?
Sheriff's office.
Okay. Your time as a, like in the streets, you said earlier you went first to the jailhouse and then went out on the streets?
Most sheriff's office, you'll start off in the detention center until you can get your slot going through the academy. And then once you go through the academy, they either roll you out to the streets in uniform patrol division, or some other unit. So, yeah.
Okay. Now, did you enjoy both stages of that?
I got some very funny stories from when I worked in the detention center. It's not where I wanted to be, but having had a father that was in the military, raised in a kind of a military home life, you understand about structure, and you understand about paying your dues. And I'm very much about paying your dues. Again, I don't want to be that guy that went from A to E and jumped all the other steps. I believe in paying your dues, and in the long run, it actually probably benefits you.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Now, did you enjoy being out on the street?
Oh, loved it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Very nice.
Absolutely, and great story. Provided some great stories.
Well, let's hear one or two of them. Tell us a story about your time there.
So while I was working in, so when I went through the academy, I went. One of my classmates was a guy by the name of Michael Heiligen, which is a very difficult last name to pronounce. And he had the same. And when he would introduce himself to you, he'd always say, "Hey, I'm Michael Heiligen, but you can call me Gator," because he had gone to the University of Florida.
Uh-huh.
So I'm on patrol one day, and I light this vehicle up, pull her over, and walk up to her, and everything's going fine. It's an older lady. Everything was going fine. And she mentioned that she went to the same church as the sheriff. I see the sheriff every Sunday. And I said, well, that's great. That's great. Please make sure that, when you see him, tell him I was polite and courteous. And when I came back from my patrol car back to her vehicle with my ticket book, she threw her hands up. She says, look, if you won't write that citation, I will buy tickets to your policeman's ball. And I told her, I said, ma'am, I work for the sheriff's office. We don't have balls. She didn't, I thought it was funny. She didn't think it was funny. So when I wrote the citation, she had the presence of mind. She could have looked on the citation and seen my name, but she said, I want your name and badge number. Well, our badges, you had a badge number, but it wasn't like an NYPD shield where your badge number is on your shield.
Right.
So I said, we don't have badge numbers. Wasn't a total lie. I said, we don't have badge numbers. She said, well, I want your name. I said, well, my name is Michael Heiligen, but you can call me Gator. And at that time, Michael was working a different zone. So I knew that when she called in to complain on me, the dispatcher would look and think, well, Gator's not even working that zone. This girl must be a crackpot. So at the end of my shift, I rolled into the precinct, and there was Mike, and there was the watch commander. And Mike had this big shit-eating grin. My watch commander had his arms folded, and he was doing this. Come here.
Nice.
True story.
Nice. That's pretty good. Well, hopefully you didn't get lit up by the supervisor there.
No, I got a little bit of a verbal reprimand, but that's as far as it went.
That's pretty good. So you got some good stories about it. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, you asked me about what kind of calls did I get as an EMT.
Yeah.
It's funny because during the day, you just didn't sit around in a workroom waiting to roll. You worked somewhere in the clinic.
Right.
And so I usually worked sick call, seeing Marines that were checking in for one thing or another. And you stood a four duty rotation. So once every 4 nights, 2 corpsmen have to spend the night in the clinic because people get sick after hours, people get hurt, and they'll come and ring the bell. You let them in, pull their health record, and you attend to them. Mm-hmm. And one night after dark, this very attractive blonde female Marine shows up in her PT gear.
Uh-huh.
And I was asking, what's the problem? She says, well, I got burned. So I said, okay, where'd you get burned? And she lifts up her sweatshirt. She had been smoking a cigarette, and the cherry fell out. It went down her shirt. So it was going bam, 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 and rested in her navel.
Oh.
So that was probably that was different.
Yeah. Man, that's gotta be horrible. In your navel.
Yes. I also once saw, not in Charleston, somebody who ended up with puppy teeth marks in the wrong place. So I told him it's never a good idea to come out of the shower. When you have a baby pup, a Doberman pup, never a good idea to walk out of the shower without a towel around you.
Yeah, lesson learned.
Yeah, you know what? If that dude makes the same mistake twice, he deserves what he got.
That's true. Oh man, that's awesome. Holy cow! Now, when you went from being a patrolman now, and now you're going to the CID, what was there schooling involved in that? Like, what was that process?
Yeah, they do. They right off the bat, I got sent. Most times you get sent down to Forsyth, Georgia, which is near Macon, and the
Right.
Georgia Public Department of Safety has a big campus there, big campus. So Georgia State Patrol does their uh, academy there, fire department, those kind of things, first responders, and they offer schools for law enforcement agencies all around the state.
Mm-hmm.
So I got sent down there, and I went to a school called Interviews and Interviews and Integration. I don't think that word is used anymore, but back then that's what it was called.
Yeah.
And you learned to interview both victims, witnesses, and suspects.
I see. Yeah.
And learned how to properly interview them. So that was one of the schools I went to first thing right out of the bat.
Right.
And then law enforcement officers here in the state of Georgia, back when I was in the early 90s, you had to keep your accreditation up. You had to have 20 plus hours of training to keep your accreditation, and you could always find classes
20 hours a year type of deal.
Yeah, to keep your accreditation.
Yeah.
And you may go to school and it might clip off 5 hours. Some have a little less, but so I went to several schools while I was in CID.
Okay. Now, what was the day to day? I mean, it's got to be completely different than being patrolman. I mean,
well, you do work shifts. You do work shifts just like uniform patrol does.
Right.
Instead of patrolling a zone, you work in units. And I start off in what we call crimes against property. And the unit I was with investigated thefts and burglaries. And we worked close in hand with narcotics, because a lot of stolen stuff would either be pawned off or would they take it was drug connected. They were taking their stuff usually to buy drug money, or they were fencing it through either a fence or a fence connected with drugs. And so it was a very interesting unit, high in activity, never a dull day. I liked it.
Wow. Now I don't know. There's a lot of cop shows that are out there, right? So as I envision what you're doing, I'm thinking of like that detective and a team goes out and is actually looking at the site, like especially like it's big on the murders and those types of things, right? So you're the one on the ground doing and looking at everything, and then going and interviewing all the different people involved.
Typically, you would get called out when an incident occurred. The first responding officer would usually notify dispatch or 911 to dispatch a detective to the scene.
Okay.
And the detective that went out was based on whatever crime was committed. So they had guys for homicide and assaults. They had guys for burglaries and et cetera, et cetera. We even had a child crime unit, which I worked 1 year in, child crimes against children.
Yeah.
So that's how you get dispatched out. And you would go out to the scene. Not nearly as intense as a homicide scene.
Right.
But sometimes you would call out. Back then, and the sheriff's office I worked for was 177 man. We weren't a large. Agency, but we weren't a small one like town in Georgia with a chief police and 2 part-time officers.
Right.
But typically back then we didn't have per se a crime scene unit. The detectives typically would carry fingerprinting kits with them. So if there was anything to be fingerprinted or dusted to be for fingerprints, excuse me, the detectives would do it themselves. Our sheriff's office did not have its own crime lab. We sent everything that we collected as evidence, for whether it be body fluids, fingerprints, what have you, would typically end up down at Georgia Bureau of Investigations to go through their crime lab. And let me tell you, it's not like on TV where you get an answer back in 2 hours or within an hour. Sometimes it could literally take weeks before you saw results.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, that makes things a little slow process, if you will. But so you would be working, 3, 4, 5 cases at a time.
You usually had a caseload of 20 to 30.
Wow. That's quite a bit. 20 to 30. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
At a time. Yeah. Yeah.
Man. And now how long were you, did you do detective work?
I did detective work about 3 years, and then I moved on. I went in, got a job for a master distributorship for 3M in business development. And I was there for 10 months, and one of my clients, an engineering firm in Marietta, hired me away, and they were in the oil and gas industry. And I spent 25 years in business development in the oil and gas industry.
No kidding. Wow. Yeah. Now, did you did travel around the country involved in all that? Or yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
What was your day-to-day with that, and what was your job? What did you do?
It was nothing like the military or law enforcement. There was no adrenaline rush whatsoever. And I always thought, even probably well into my career, I still didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up.
Yeah.
But I learned to appreciate the fact that my job paid so well that I could do the things that I like. So my job actually became like one of those stickers on a NASCAR race car. My firm was the official sponsor of Alton Coleman. Did I think that I would end up doing this for a living? No, but I made a well enough living and retired as a shareholder that it afforded me to do some of the things that I like to do in life. And it certainly helped me provide for my family.
Yeah, very nice. I like that. That's very well put. That they were, you're the NASCAR driver, and they were sponsoring you. I like
they're
that.
Sponsored, kind of like Marine Corps League is for Josh White.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep. Working in business development is a combination of developing new business, and that can be organically or just brand new. So, you can go to clients that you've done work for, and how do you get more sales out of them, or introduce me to other offices or other locations in the country so that I can go there and drop your name that we're doing business and get more business from them. And then again, there's just grassroots business, someone that you've never done business with before. So there's that. There's also the way I approach things was, again, kind of like being a corpsman. It really was about problem solving. What was your company's paying? What's costing you money right now?
Right.
What's the hurdle you can't get over? I didn't want to be a snake oil salesman. I didn't want to be one. When I leave your office, I'm going to sell you something today. There lots of times you'd walk out of a client's office and have not sold them anything, but I hopefully sold them on an idea that they could present to their boss, and dialogue could continue from there.
Okay.
But
So
that was
you
that was
were
my thing.
investing time in the hopes of eventually, right, getting to a sell or whatever.
Investing in time and gaining their trust.
Mm-hmm.
Their, that and in my career, there have been clients that came to me and said, "Hey, do you do this?" And it really wasn't in our wheelhouse. So I would send them to somebody who really this was their thing.
Yeah.
And I'd rather give up that business and him one day go, well, Alton didn't steer me wrong. He didn't try to sell us something a solution that almost works. And they'd come back to me. In fact, I had an executive from 3M one time tell me, um, I don't ever want to hear you say that you sell 3M tapes and adhesives. And I didn't get a word out, but he probably could see the look on my face. And he said, you tell them, if you have to tell them you sell anything, tell them you sell solutions. If you can sell them solutions, they'll buy materials. Well, in an engineering firm, you're not selling materials. You're selling service. So you've got to understand their business, what their needs are, and help them. Because, kind of like being in the Marine Corps, shit happens.
Yeah.
So when shit happens, how can you help them?
Right. Yeah.
So, and that's the way I approached it. I wanted to be their trusted advisor.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it. I think that anytime you go in business, you should look at it kind of in that light. It doesn't matter really what the business is. You're trying to just help the person, whoever it is that you're wanting business from.
Yeah.
I like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And now how long did you do that?
25 years.
25?
Yeah.
Wow. 25 years. And then, 25 years is coming to an end then. And then where did you go? What was it?
Retirement. No.
Yeah.
I had a unique situation. The firm I worked for went through 2 buyouts within a year. And I survived the first buyout. Then about a year later, a capital investment company bought us out. And I ended up, I made the first round, but then the second round of cuts, they were going to do away with my job and approach it from a different manner. And I did not make it. I was 56 years old. I thought I was going to go work at a firm in Duluth, Georgia, where one of my coworkers ended up. But they had just gone through a buyout and they were dragging feet as to what the next step was for them. And I came home one day and I told my wife, I said, you know what, this is it. God says this is it. I'm tired of traveling. I'm on a plane every 2 to 3 weeks a month, going somewhere, and I'm done. And we cashed in our shares and we just took life from there.
Yeah.
And I retired in 2019. I joined the Marine Corps League in 2017, but I didn't get very involved because I'm always out of town. And quite frankly, when I do get home, my ass leaving the house is the furthest thing from my mind.
Yeah.
I wanted a home cooked meal, a little loving, and HBO, okay, or a football game, okay.
Yeah.
But in 2019, I got very involved in my detachment. In a couple of years, I was junior vice commandant of my detachment, and about almost 3 years ago, I became the judge advocate for the Department of Georgia. I'm now currently the junior vice commandant for the Department of Georgia. So my level of involvement, both on the detachment level and the department level, really increased. I'm with Unicoi Detachment 783 up here in the Blue Ridge Mountains in Northeast Georgia. It's a rural community. Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. My wife is born and raised here. When it came to retirement, we knew we weren't going to South Georgia, where I came from. No, that was a no-brainer. We're a small detachment of about maybe 60 members. And I have to say, we do a lot of veteran relief work, a lot. and we also support our community. Our pound this Saturday after the detachment meeting is going to Cast Off Pet Rescue in Blairsville, Georgia. We have been collecting flat sheets, blankets, towels, and bath mats, dog food over the last couple of months. And they're a no-kill shelter, and they use these things for bedding and so forth, dog food and cat food for obvious reasons. And we're also going to deliver them a check to help them. So we not only support the veterans in towns in Union County and sometimes surrounding counties, but we also try to put back in to the community. We volunteer and donate money to food pantries and other types of organizations as well.
Right. Now, getting more involved in the Marine Corps League, what do you see as benefits, right? What did you get out of it joining the league?
I think probably the first thing off is the camaraderie. I think most Marines probably when they get out, that's the part of the culture they miss the most. The camaraderie. There's no one has esprit de corps and the camaraderie that the United States Marine Corps has, just bar none. Sorry, not even the Navy, not the Army, not the Air Force, not the Coast Guard. And I think that's what most veterans miss most. The older vets, I have to say, it gives them something to do. It helps keep them active. The younger vets, I think the struggle right now is with younger recruits. I think after 20 years of war between Iraq and Afghanistan, a lot of the young Marines have come home, and volunteering for anything is the furthest from their mind. I think for a couple of reasons. One, they're going back into the workforce, so they're trying to find a job. They're dealing with what they've just been through. And I think the world is a different place nowadays.
Very true.
Guys from the Second World War, when they came home, first of all, they came home on a cargo ship, and it could take them 2 to 3 months to get home from wherever they were deployed, which gave them about 90 days to decompress and begin to deal with things that they had been through with other veterans with similar experiences. Then when they got stateside, they wanted a bar stool to park themselves on and continue that camaraderie with fellow veterans, swap lies and war stories and what have you. I think the veterans of this day and age are different. We have the internet. It has certainly evolved in the last 20 years. I think some veterans, some Marines sit there and look at the VFW, the American Legion, the Marine Corps League, and others as my grandfather's club, or maybe their father's club. Now they can get on, they can take their smartphone and they can look up CrossFit training at Meeks Park on Saturday, and boom, stuff lights up. And they can end up at Meeks Park with 6 other knuckleheads and do CrossFitness, and then go have a Michelob Light, or whatever down the road. I don't have to join anything. There's no dues involved. I don't have to wear a uniform. So I think they're a little bit like-minded. I'm hoping at some point in their life after the military, that they'll want to get the camaraderie that we share in the Marine Corps League is not just experienced at a detachment meeting or a growl, whether it be at the detachment level, the department level, or national. There's a ton of camaraderie and support that occurs between detachment meetings. And I think, seriously, if your detachment has a purpose, that draws them in even more. A lot of guys, they're like, why do I want to go once a month to a boring meeting? You better take it.
Sorry, I was.
Your assistant there. That's all right. No, it's
Yeah,
all good. It's all
yeah,
good. But I mean, the things that your detachment's involved in, that's where camaraderie comes in. You
yeah,
know, what is their mission? That,
mm-hmm,
that's my detachment's motto is the mission continues. Well, what is that mission?
mm-hmm,
Is it supporting veterans, which is the mission of the Marine Corps League itself. So it's not,
yeah,
the apple doesn't fall that far off the tree. So how is your detachment going to support that mission, serving veterans? And you
mm-hmm.
just have to find your niche. Um, One, my detachment started about 2 years ago, coffee and camaraderie. So we meet every Monday morning at the Blairsville restaurant in Blairsville, Georgia, and we meet at 10 a.m. in the veterans room. It's open to anybody that wants to come. So we have not only Marine Corps members that attend, we have
Mm-hmm.
members from other VSOs, other
Yeah,
branches of service. We have some widows of Marines. We have people that just were in the community and they want to be a part of what we got going on. And you know
mm-hmm.
what? A lot of them end up joining as associate members.
Yeah,
And for me, that's the sell right there. When I meet a veteran, I don't shove a application in their face and go, "Hey, join us." I I
right.
tell them about the breakfast meeting on Monday mornings, and hey, man, stop by and have a cup of coffee with us one day, and I let them get acclimated that way.
Mm-hmm.
And if they make 3 meetings or 3 breakfasts, 3 Monday mornings, that's when you might want to start talking to them about, hey, why don't you come to one of our detached meetings and see
Yeah,
what we're all about? And you just kind of soft sell, or what I call passive sell, instead of doing the hard sell.
mm-hmm.
If you miss the camaraderie so much, chances are so do they, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where you start. That's where you start.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that. Camaraderie and coffee. I think that's a great deal.
Yeah,
It, that
and
should be adopted across the Marine Corps League.
well, yeah, bullshit and lies was already taken, so we went with coffee and camaraderie.
I like that. Oh man, that's too good. Oh man. I think one of the hard things whenever you're trying to, especially the younger crowd, is they got their families. They're still out there hooking and jabbing, working and doing things, and they just don't have the time. A lot of it. And
Yeah,
then you got to find things that interest those individuals. And
sure.
I don't know. Sometimes you look at what they do and what we did and what we do is two different things.
Well, I think that there are certainly a lot of single vets that come home. So
Mhm.
they're looking for work, they're looking to go back to school. And then you got ones that have families, whether they were started before service or during service. And
Right.
for those guys, it's not only about finding a job, but it's about participating in the family events. If they have kids, you're going to soccer practice or a soccer game or football or basketball. We have one member who just stepped down. He was doing refereeing.
Oh, no kidding.
Well, he refereed football
Yeah.
and basketball. So,
Wow.
and because his kids were involved in sports, now
Mhm.
they've moved on past the high school. They're into high school or in college now. So he's able to step back from that, and his Saturdays are now open, which we happen to have. Our detachment means the third Saturday of each month.
Mhm.
But there's those guys that are not only having to juggle work, but they're having to juggle family activities. And I fully support that family comes first.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good way. Now I think one of the cool things, what is there's a it's called OpFob, and I can't remember what it's called, out close to Paris Island, somewhere out there. But they do range time. So they have a range that's dedicated to and all the military guys can just come in with their weapons, and they can go shoot targets and have a good time. And that was a pretty cool deal. They do it once a week, or I don't know if it's once a week, maybe it's once every month or something. I don't know, but things like that. That's pretty cool.
That's a really great idea. We have 2 gun ranges in our county. And you and I, we probably I like to hang back after the show and get more information from you.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
And maybe that's something that we could go to one of the gun ranges and go, hey, look, man, if you don't have something for veterans, here's this idea, and see if we can get one of the gun ranges on board, and maybe have one day a month that the veterans can get together as a group. You don't have to join or anything, just show up and let's spend a couple of rounds.
Yeah, there's nothing better than shooting weapons with friends. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I like that
shooting
idea.
weapons with friends is a lot better than shooting your weapons at friends. A lot less trouble.
Yeah. That one will get you in trouble for sure.
Yeah, a lot less blowback there.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. Doc, man, it's been great having you on here.
I really appreciate being on your show, AJ. I really do. I think it's a terrific program. I've encouraged my members to sign up as a guest if they're so willing. A lot of great stories out there. A lot of great people. Marine Corps Leagues is full of great people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, I always try to tell everybody that everybody's story is important. It doesn't matter if you served, maybe 1 year and you got dishonorably discharged. It's still a story that needs to be told. That's the way
if you can make someone laugh, you can change the world. Perhaps not the whole world, but that person's world.
True.
And I think the same thing about telling stories. You may not feel like your story is very important, but you never know the light you're going to shed when you tell it. And the person you're talking to might be standing there thinking, oh my God, I thought I was the only one.
Yeah. That's so true. And so often we think to ourselves, like, I'm the only one going through this.
Sure.
And then once it's said, another person says it, you're like, oh, well, maybe I'm not the only one, and that's so important to be able to recognize in life,
Yes.
Maybe that'll save that one veteran from committing suicide. You never know.
That's right. We need, we need to have Red Fridays, and we need to be on the lookout and take a proactive approach to our veteran buddies, male or female, that might be struggling.
Yeah.
Your one kind word may make all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And a lot of times you don't even have to talk, just listen.
That's right.
Yeah.
Listening is such a big part of leadership,
Absolutely.
You gotta listen. Yeah. Well, Doc, is there anything else that you want to talk about? Maybe something that we didn't bring up or something we missed?
No, not really. Well, tell you what.
Yeah.
February 16th, Marine Corps League Unicoi Detachment 783 will once again be hosting the Iwo Jima Memorial Ceremony over at the Towns County Parks and Recreation and Conference Center. Nice. We have a memorial there. It's a very unique memorial, Iwo Jima Memorial. It's a one-of-a-kind. I think the only kind of its kind in the state, maybe even in the region. But we host this memorial every year. We have a keynote speaker, and then afterwards we have coffee, cake, and camaraderie. And I want to reach out certainly to all the detachments in the state of Georgia, but we do get detachments from North Carolina and other states, South Carolina, Alabama, that come and attend. But again, Monday, February 16th, 1,000 hours. Hoorah.
Awesome. Oh, excuse me. I almost choked there. So I always end the podcast here whenever I'm doing these one-on-one interviews with what I call rapid fire questions. So okay. I'm gonna shoot some questions at you, and then you give me your input. You ready?
Go.
What is your proudest military moment?
Becoming a Fleet Marine Force Corpsman.
Nice. All right. What is your most embarrassing military moment?
I once had a cigarette incident very close to the female Marine I treated at MLCLB Albany during graduation. Had a cigarette in my mouth. One of my classmates' kids came up. I picked him up, and he went SWAT. That thing went under my uniform, and I had burn holes all the way down.
Nice. All right. If you could be one military leader for a day, who would that be?
I'd have Mad Dog Mattis back.
Okay, I like it. Here we go. What is one lesson or skill you learned that you still use today?
Document.
That's very true. Yeah, that was good. In the zombie apocalypse, what will be your weapon of choice and what anthem will be playing?
It'd be our national anthem.
Okay.
And I would have a Swiss Army knife. No, kidding. High caliber, high capacity round, automatic weapon of some type.
Okay, nice. I was going to say, if you're going with a Swiss Army knife, you're wanting to get incredibly close.
You are. I am an adrenaline junkie.
There you go. What animal best describes your time in service?
A dog.
Okay.
A dog. I know that sounds chintzy, but unconditional love, loyalty, integrity.
Yeah, very good. I like that. Knowing what you know now, would you do it all over again?
Absolutely.
I like it. Now, I always give time. This is your time. Your time to give words of wisdom or anything else that you'd like to share with all the listeners.
Wow. That's a tough one. The Marine Corps League presents its members with second chances. So if you miss something during your time of service, it is possible to gain that back as a member of the Marine Corps League. If you don't feel like you got quite the camaraderie you did during your enlistment, here's your chance. If you feel that you could have served your battle buddies better, here's your chance. And it is an opportunity, as a member of the Marine Corps League, is an opportunity to set yourself apart from all others and serve your brothers and sisters now and forever.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. I love it. Hey, Doc, thanks for coming on and doing this. Much appreciated.
Enjoyed it. Call me back anytime.
Absolutely. Yeah. We got to get you back on here. Have some more good stories. I love it.
Anytime. I'll think of some funny stories between now and then.
All right. Sounds good. Well, I always close out the podcast the same way, and we talk about veteran suicide and ways to be able to get some help. But to everybody out there, if you're struggling, you do need help, anything like that, the VA does have some good resources. You can dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255 or go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. Doc cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you serve with. Ask them how they're doing. If they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right. One last time, Doc, thank you very much. I had a good time. Hopefully you did. And to all the listeners out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.
Semper Fi.
No more 22. On to the journey and finish the fight.